What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite nail tech, Peaches, back with another video. And today we are going to be going over this beautiful marble ombre. Actually, my boyfriend had told his apartment manager that he works with about me, and she told her sister, and her sister actually came in to come and get done up. So before we get into it, let's make sure that you are subscribed. Smiley F, you are the subscriber for today. Turn on the notifications because you do not want to miss a video, because listen, the troubles I've been having lately, come on, you don't want to miss because it's a little bit sporadic right now. So of course I just showed you guys the colors that we will be using: Fuzzy Wuzzy, Second Nude, Chocolate Thunder, and Slightly Brightly. So she did have an inspo picture. She showed me like a marble ombre. She's like, this is what I want. I was like, okay, do you want similar colors as well, like fall time colors? She said yes. So I said, okay, boom, I got you. So originally I started out doing this marble how I would do a normal marble, but you guys, when you're marbling browns and nudes, stuff like that, they can get muddled very fast. So I quickly realized, like, you know what, this is not the look I'm going for. Like, I don't know, I did this twice, and I just was not happy with how the swirling was going. Like, it just wasn't, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. So I went ahead and decided to restart, which you can always do that if the acrylic is still wet enough. If you're gonna restart, I would say, listen, choose sooner than later. That's what I always tell clients. Like, if I do something and I'm just like, okay, you like this, yes or no? And they'll be like, okay, yes. I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep it. Or if they don't, I'm like, okay, boom. Like, if they don't like a color, I always tell them, like, tell me quickly, because it's easy to take it off when it's wet. So then basically what I went ahead and decided to do is make sure I lay down this color Fuzzy Wuzzy, and then I would lay down some Slightly Brightly, and then the Chocolate Thunder, and then I would like do a little bit of swirls, and that was giving me a little bit more of what I wanted. The trick to doing like nudes, or like, I guess you can say these fall type colors, is that with nails, order of operations matter, and that goes for like placing colors as well, because whatever color you place down first, that's gonna be the majority color of the background, if that makes sense. So if I would have put down the orange first, that color would be a little bit more dominant in a sense, because I'm mixing the other colors into that. So that's typically why I will place down the lighter color, because it's much easier to swirl a darker color into a lighter color versus trying to swirl a lighter color into a darker color. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can describe it. And then I just make sure we're keeping the shape. And yeah, she was a really cool client. Like, she's used to getting her nails done, which is good, because some people, it's been a minute, and sometimes they'll be either all up in your business about what you're doing, or they just be trying to talk to you about the shop used to do this, the shop used to do that, and it wasn't like that. So that was cool. So you can see on the larger nails I do sections, so I'm doing the same motion. Okay, we're swirling and then dragging everything down on the sides as I did right there, so we can keep the shape. And then you're gonna see me pat everything upwards a little bit, because this is also ombre, we cannot forget that. So we do need to still blend the top. You see what I'm saying right here. And I did not want the tops to be just like, I don't want to say like plain one color to make it seem like it's ombre up there, but I wanted to make sure that even as we go onto the natural nail right there, we are still keeping up with our marble to an extent. So you can see the type of beads that I'm using. We are not working extremely wet, but also not extremely dry. You need to be careful, because each bead you add is going to make the other ones even wetter, because you're adding more liquid. And so yeah, basically you just want to be careful of that, because it can make everything else runny. So see how the texture is, as soon as they settle and kind of set, it makes it so that way I can still move them around, but I can still keep the shape of my nail. That's the most important part. If you do not keep to the shape of what you have made, obviously with the tips, you're gonna have a hard time shaping through all these layers later on. Okay, we want to make sure we are keeping a smooth surface. Like, look at the pinky, right? Even though we did a marble, it's not super lumpy and bumpy, right? That's what we want, because number one, not only are we doing a marble, but number two, we're doing an ombre, and number three, we're gonna have to cap all of those layers in clear, and we don't want them to be super thick, and we also don't want everything to be so bumpy that once we do cap, it's gonna be almost impossible to get a smooth result, and you might end up filing through to the marble it's just, yeah, complicated. Okay, so like I said, don't neglect the top with the natural nail, because you do still want that to have a marbled effect, because as we ombre, you want to be able to see the beginning of that marble to an extent. You know, we don't want it to just be empty space or just one solid color and then marble at the very tip. I think that's a mistake people kind of make sometimes. They don't carry the marble up far enough, and they're just like, okay, well, there's color up there, so it doesn't matter. But it will affect the overall look and the smoothness of the blend. So, you know, like I was saying, I'm laying down the lightest color first, and I'm swirling it in a way to where it's like, and again, you can see me like pushing the product upwards to make an area to allow for the blend. I'm basically marbling in a way that's like not too many swirls, because I don't want everything to muddle in because of, you know, the colors, but I do want to make sure that there are parts where each individual color kind of stands out, so you can tell like, okay, these are 3 separate colors and not one whole. See how on the paper towel the brown is mixing in with everything, and it kind of just looks like, you know, almost like it's making one shade of brown. We don't want that. All right, so, you know, work in smaller sections and you will get a much more desired look, because we are working with colors that are in the same, you know, color family, I guess you could say. So I'm just making sure everything is blended upwards, very thin layers. We're not working with thick layers at all. Now, I am working to where there's like some substance, so when I do go ahead and cap, I'm not gonna have to do a very thick layer at all. I am just only going to have to basically encapsulate this design down at the tip, so that way we don't file through. Okay, so again, lay down your 3 colors. I prefer, when I'm doing colors like this, or actually 3 colors at a time, period, to be honest, I lay down all the colors at once, because when you're I mean, if you try to do the marble like how you would do a 2-color marble, the thing is, though, like 2 of the colors are going to swirl and marble together, and you're gonna have one color that's gonna be harder to work it in. Or if you try and like do 2 colors here, 2 colors there, you're gonna have a separation in your blend, and it's gonna just be areas of marble, but all 3 won't be marbled together, like, you know, seamlessly, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're gonna do that, and then we're just gonna make sure that as we go up the nail into the natural nail plate, you see, we're gonna continue on with our marble. So you can kind of see, like, once I marble those 2 and try to add the brown, it kind of doesn't like the brown doesn't swirl in the best, but I kind of wasn't concerned about that in this point. I just wanted to make sure the 3 colors were carried up towards the top. So now this is the first set, right? So her set, I want to say, took 2 hours, and you can see how like smooth it is pretty much with the application on the side. So this is just the first step, right? The second step is the ombre. Now we're using second nude for the ombre, okay? Make sure you clean your brush, as in like make sure none of that brown or orange is on the brush, because it will carry into your marble. I get a nice size bead, just like a regular ombre, okay? Just act like it's a regular ombre. We've already carried our color up, so as soon as we set the bead down, you see, I'm gonna let it set for a second, work it into the cuticle area, and then with one swoop, the initial ombre has been made. Now, because this is a marble ombre, we're not dragging it down too much. So when we let it set like that, we have all the color pigment at the top, and then we'll be able to swiftly blend it down. Now you can see it's not like completely blended. Like, we still need slightly a little bit of work because it's blending into darker colors, and this nude is not necessarily a darker nude on her. So, you know, second nude is very much a universal color as far as what skin tones it works for. Obviously, it is going to portray lighter or darker on some people, but the undertone is a, you know, a little bit more of like a brownish shade. Not the most brown, but yeah, it looks great on everybody. Okay, so you saw how I put that bead there to blend it down even more, working into the cuticles. If you do not do that now, it's going to be a pain later on. And then we're just going to take very small beads and slightly slightly just swipe. And once I'm happy, I'm going to put a small bead on. I'm not going to worry about trying to cover the like cap the actual apex because the apex already has a strength to it. I just want to make sure that my design will not be filed through, because I already did the marble like to a thickness that it will help provide some strength to this particular length. It's going to be super easy to cap. So again, we're going to take our bead, we're going to drain it a little bit, and then we're going to start working into the cuticles. Okay, and once you are able to get your right like ratio of liquid to powder, it's going to be super easy to do that. And you can see within just a couple swipes, we've already got a blend going. Now this can seem scary when you're doing a marble and it seems like, oh my gosh, some areas aren't fully covered, or like you see how you can see the brown peeking through at the top. That's okay, because this is a marble ombre, so you should expect to see some areas of uneven color, and not try and cover every little thing up, if that makes sense. So here I'm just building the apex and making sure the cuticles are, you know, it's doing its thing basically. And then I'm just making sure that everything is like blended downwards, you know, tucked into where it needs to be. So like I said, you can see that brown going there, and like you see how I'm checking for the smoothness of the side and the thickness. But that's okay that you can see the brown, because number one, it's something about when you cap ombres, it just makes the ombre look 100 times better. I think I've said this before, you know, don't depend on it too much, but I don't even know, this clear layer makes magic. So if you're feeling like, oh man, I'm a little unsure, I don't want to say you have to trust the process, but kind of like there is no foolproof way. It takes practice and time. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you let the acrylic roll onto the sides and on the tip, because you do want to make sure everything is capped. You don't want anything separating away from any type of layer, so that's why I make sure I go on the sides and make sure everything is cool. And you can already see like this set, I kept saying, I'm like, girl, this is gonna be so cute, this is gonna be so pretty, like I can't wait. I was very excited to do this. I think I saw an area where like the cuticles was like a little uneven, so I'm going to fix that. And also, I do apologize for not uploading sooner, you guys. I was working on another video from last week, and it was taking a while to edit. It was extremely long, like literally 40 minutes. But the thing about it was, when I finally did, you know, edit it and stuff, like I went to upload it, and I went to work, and it was set to upload like, you know, days ago, obviously. And yeah, I didn't even get a notification that it was ready to upload. Like normally I'll have it sent to my phone like, okay, hey, check's completed or whatever, because I was not there. And I asked my boyfriend on his lunch to like unplug my computer, and that's when he told me there was an error message. You know, it was just really a lot, and talking about copywriting and that they found this, that, and the other. And I was just like, you know what, it was a lot of hassle, and because the video was already saved and edited, it was gonna be really hard to figure out what was it that caused problems, if that makes sense. So at that point I was like, I'm just gonna forfeit the video and start over. And then this set kind of fell into my lap. I've been doing a lot of toes recently, more than sets, and I've also been in the process of moving my room around and things like that, so it's been inconvenient to try and film toes, because my setup is kind of like literally very miscellaneous, if that makes sense to you. But then also like some of you guys know in San Jose I was dealing with some medical issues, and they lasted for about 10 days. And then as I was kind of healing up, it was like a ear and jaw issue. No, it was not an ear infection. I really don't know what was wrong, but the other side of my jaw, like I could barely open my mouth and stuff like that. On the other side of my jaw was hurting pretty badly for another couple days. So like honestly, for 2 weeks I was not feeling well, and so it kind of took me a little minute. I was still working, so it took me a minute to be able to like get in the swing of like record and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I've been slacking in the videos. I feel bad because I feel like it's always something, and I promise I don't try to make it always something. I literally don't know why stuff always happens. But nevertheless, we're gonna keep pushing, because that's what we do, and I want to make sure I have content for you guys before I go to work this morning. And that's kind of why I'm whispering, because, you know, people asleep and whatnot. So yeah. Okay, so once again, we're gonna lay that bead down, and we want it to get into the cuticle area. You can see once you have the right ratio of liquid to powder, you're gonna be able to like push and it's going to fall into place. Now you don't want it to get too dry, because you can see here I made a mistake. I let it rest and set for too long, and now I'm in an issue to where like my bead is acting up, it's not blending well, and I'm like, oh damn. You can see, and then there's like some red there, like this one was causing me problems, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So when this happens, do not panic. Okay, just wet your brush, fix the cuticle area first. Okay, so that involved me taking my brush and really pulling a lot of that product out of the cuticle area, because it was going to stiffen up and it was going to be very thick there. This is why I always say, like, for some of you guys that do use like a size 10 and stuff, brushes that small that require using the body of your brush like this, right, to move and pull product, especially when it's of stiffer textures, it's going to be extremely difficult for you guys. And I think that's why sometimes it's very frustrating for some people when it comes to certain things, because it's like the body of your brush is so thin and small that it does not allow for certain things. So basically you're effectively using the tip of your brush for everything, when in reality there are some things the tip of your brush cannot help you with. Okay, so you can see I'm fixing the ombre by laying a slightly wet bead in the area of like where I messed up. And I say slightly wet because the bead is wet, but I am not letting it like drip all the way around. And once I did that, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be good enough. I was kind of like worried, like, dang, I hope this doesn't look dumb, but at the same time I was like, we're gonna go ahead with that magic cap layer and call it good, because I was ready to move on to the next finger. I was like, look, it'll get fixed, it'll look cool, whatever the case may be. And so at this point, sometimes you might be thinking, like, did I choose the right color to ombre with? Did I, is it blended enough? X, Y, and Z. And I will say, you can see from the side I had messed up, but I was like, you know what, that could file out. It'll be all good. But once you start doing certain stuff over and over and you have the repetitiveness, you'll be more concerned about other things. So don't be trying to make the inspo pic like, oh, I need it to look exactly like that picture. Just ask them, like, okay, like, if you notice the picture's a French tip, don't be trying to like, oh man, I gotta copy the picture and this and that. Just look like, okay, I see you want a French tip today. Did you want a white tip or do you want color? And then they'll just be like, oh, I want a color similar to the picture. Oh, okay, cool. Here's the color options that I have similar to that picture. So that way it feels more like the client is building the set. It takes pressure off of you to try and recreate someone's work for real. And even in recreating another picture or something, you're using the supplies that you have and the techniques that you know. So essentially your work is not going to look like that because you're not them. But you know what I'm saying, you just need to make sure, like, okay, hey, this is the design, but it's my work, if that makes sense. I think people get, I'm sorry y'all, I stayed up doing laundry till like after 3 in the morning, and I woke up at around 6, and I'm just tired as hell. But yeah, people should focus a little bit more on how to make their work look the best that it can, instead of just like, how do I copy all these sets and copy all these trends? Like, it's so much copy this, and it shouldn't be that way. Okay, and that's why so many people are stressed about doing nails and why they quit. Just different things, so keep that in mind. Okay. So anyway, working on the thumb. You guys know the thumb is the largest finger, so it does take a little bit more effort. Don't be discouraged or anything like that. Just keep it going, and by the time you get to the thumb, you'll be like, yay, almost done. So I realized the blend was kind of low, so I just kind of pushed up some of that acrylic, and then I blended it back down. So you see what I mean about, like, I have a lot more bristles and a lot bigger of a body, so I can pull things like that. I got a little more wiggle room as far as like what happens when the acrylic starts to dry, whereas a smaller brush is dependent on the tip of the brush and the bristles. And so once acrylic starts to dry in any format, people freak out, and they don't know what to do if they make a mistake. But there's a lot of things that you can actually, acrylic takes a lot longer to dry than some people think, if that makes sense. So we're gonna take a small bead because again, we do not need to be capping all that nude up top. We just need to cap about halfway down into the nude because we want to preserve the design. Also, you can see the index finger how it's kind of like wonky a little bit. It's gonna get filed and be fine. But yeah, we want to make sure we preserve the actual design part and finish matching the structure to the apex that we made. So I want to do a video all about how to cap in clear, because I kind of feel like yeah, it's needed. So this is my application. At the time I was thinking like, oh damn, this is hella thick. Now that I'm looking back, it's really not that bad. So I've already filed the cuticle areas, and I've, you know, filed the C curve at the tip, and now we're just gonna go in with my hand file. You guys already know I use my hand file for all surface smoothing and shaping. I really don't like to use my e-file for this part because I feel like the little tiny round bits can make dents, and I don't feel like it's any faster than hand filing. So this is my process. So I do show this full hand of filing, and she does have larger nail beds as well, which is something I forgot to mention earlier. They're like not huge, but they're larger in the sense of like you can see her nails are not necessarily like have that like dainty small look. So I need to really make sure to do my best to get a really nice square. I don't want anything that's too wide. I want to make sure we can see her nail beds. I want to make sure that when I go in after this, because I think I just show with the hand file, I do not show going back in with the e-file and correcting stuff. I could be wrong, but we're gonna find out. So basically, I just want to make sure she has the best shape possible, because I'm somebody who also does not have the most daintiest like fingers and nail bed. So I like to make sure that, okay, where does her shape lie? You know, she came in wanting square because she was like, man, the shops, they don't know how to do square and this and the other. And yeah, it was just really nice to see how excited she was getting, because she's like, oh my gosh, this looks just like the picture. Like, I can't wait to tell my sister. And you know, she was like talking to her friends, and like it was just crazy, and it was like honestly hella cool. I love when that happens. I love when clients are happy before the process is even over. Okay, so make sure you're just looking from all angles to make sure, like, we don't want no lumpy, bumpy, chumpy, humpty nails. Okay, we want to make sure, ooh, I'm so tired, we want to make sure that everything is together. And I was very happy with the shape for her. Like, I feel like this looks great. Do keep in mind that if you're doing marble or stiletto, you're gonna have to make sure that your application is very on point, because shaping like this is gonna file away at the design, because stiletto and coffin are already skinnier, so you're gonna have way less room to ombre, and it's going to have way less room to marble, and you're gonna not really see too much of the marble. So I would say in your case, make sure that when you're filing the tips or whatever the initial shape is, you know, don't make it too thin, and just tell them like, hey, we're gonna start here because I want to have room for the design, so that way it doesn't get too skinny when we go ahead and file, because then it will not be that noticeable. And more than anything, you'll notice like, hey, I can see this ombre is into something, but I don't quite see what that something is, because it's happened to me in the past where I'm just like, oh dang, like I really thought this was gonna be fire, and you know, something not giving all the way. And it's okay, it happens. But you know, just a heads up on if you decide to do this design on anything else but shape, I mean square. I'm so sorry guys, I'm so tired, I'm about to fall asleep, but I gotta be at work at 9. But I wanted to make sure I got this video out for y'all. Yeah, so let's see, I don't know, what else does it show? Oh, I actually might show more shaping than I thought. Oh no, y'all have not watched this footage. I edited this yesterday as I was moving my room around, and that's when I got the message saying that it kept closing me out of my library, because it was like, oh, it can't save because your internal storage is full, so we're just gonna close down the library so it will save. I was like, what is this, child? What's going on? And so after that happened a bunch, I was like, you know what? I just closed the laptop. I said, I'll see you at home, because I'm done. And at that point, I had already edited like all the clips of the video, And I'm like, I'm trying to do the voiceover, like, let me speak. So yeah, guess I'm really taking my time on this thumb, child. Maybe I don't have more clips. Maybe it's just all dedicated to the thumb. Wow. So you guys know, technically, you know, it's about that time, about that fall time, and this is like the first set of fall. It's still pretty warm where I'm at, so it only feels like fall at nighttime right now. But I was excited. I was like, ooh, girl, YouTube is going to like these types of sets. It's, you know, gonna be the inspiration for different people's like color palettes and stuff. Or not to say like my set specifically is gonna inspire people, but you know, the fact that like fall sets are circulating, it's just all part of the cycle. Oh, I guess maybe I do. So basically, this is just me enhancing the C curve again. These are not C curve tips, but I personally like one in my work. Because how I lay the acrylic, it kind of naturally does this anyways, and this helps sharpen up the shape. I'm going around the cuticles and over top of the nail to make sure that the apex is not too thick. And y'all just look like how smooth and how crisp, and she could not get over the shape. And oh my goodness, look at this look. I love it. I want to do more marble ombres. I'm trying to think. I'm supposed to go to Arizona next week, and I'm still trying to buy my plane ticket. I leave on supposedly Friday. So I'm going to be recording this week, so that way I can make sure I'm uploading, because it's going to be for a couple days. I really want to make sure that I'm uploading efficiently and consistently this week, because I don't even want to say I've been slacking, because it's not that I've been trying. It's just unfortunate circumstances that I've been trying to push through. So I appreciate y'all for sticking with me. You guys already know, after I go in with the e-file, I go into basically sometimes with the e-file you can, I don't want to say do too much, but if you hold the hand up, it's going to be like dipped on the top of the tip, and I don't like that look. So I just go ahead and make sure that I crisp up the front again and make it nice and even. And this is what it looks like, nice and shaped. Like, it looks beautiful. I was juiced. I'm like, watch with the top coat, which is exactly what I'm about to show y'all. I don't normally show me top coating, but this time around, I was like, yeah, I want you guys to see. And because there were parts where I was kind of, I don't want to say worried or nervous, but like, man, I hope this comes out good, because at first I was not a big fan of the marble part. It was just the way I was doing it, and I was like, I don't want the colors to be muddled. So I was a little nervous that wouldn't really look like marble, and it would just look like tiger stripes or something. I don't know why, but yeah, once I put the top coat on, I was like, oh stop, because this is beautiful, literally so beautiful. So, which, speaking of, I need to do my nails. I have a large break in between clients today in the afternoon. I think I'm gonna pop all this bling off and just reshape them. I could do a fill. I don't, like, honestly, it's been what, 2 weeks? I don't hecka need one, but like, the shape needs to be crisped up. I'm like, this is giving clown nails. Like, it reminds me of like clown shoes or something. I don't know, but I can't take it. So, and some of my bling is popping off anyway, just because I don't secure my bling as good as clients sometimes. So where theirs will be lasting like 4+ weeks, mine's honestly sometimes be lasting 2 weeks. Child, sometimes less than that, because every time I do my nails, I'm like, oop, I gotta go. Hurry up, let's go. So like, look at how smooth the ombre is, right? We're gonna cure it for 60 seconds, and then I'm gonna show you guys the final result. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps anyone looking for some fall nail designs. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.